Ah, Clive.
Joshua, what's wrong? And don't say nothing.
It's... not nothing. I've received word from Cyril. The Undying have found Father's will, or something akin to it.
His will? How and where?
In the crypt, beneath Rosalith Castle. After Kupka was kind enough to drive out the Imperials, the Undying took the opportunity to recover what relics of the duchy yet remained. And in the process of doing so, they found a letter from Father.
I'm surprised anything survived down there.
Cyril asked that I join him in Tabor at my convenience. I have been meaning to go, but... would you join me?
Oh, yes.
Of course. I want to know what's in that letter as much as you do.
Very well. I am ready to leave when you are.
Yeah, I think it was a good idea to leave this one till last. This should be interesting. Let's head over to the Undying once more.
Your Grace, my lord, I trust your journey was not overly onerous.
Cyril, you found a letter from Father.
Yes, I have it here. If you would do us the honor, my lord.
My beloved sons, I know that I ask much of you in this coming war, but I see no other way to secure a future for our duchy and our family. Yet even should we succeed in subduing the savages and winning back Drake's breath, the threat of the Blight still looms, and only with all Rosaria striving as one might we at last overcome it. I have made plans to see us through, but such are the obstacles that stand in our way. It shall likely fall on you to continue my work. I know that you have the strength, the courage, and the will to do so. This shall be an arduous inheritance, and so I offer you another, that you might be reminded of the love and the faith that I hold for both of you. Your father, Elwin.
An inheritance?
It would seem the late Archduke penned this missive shortly before his passing.
The day before we left for Phoenix Gate.
What are these plans he spoke of?
His plans for the duchy, Your Grace. Your father entrusted them to my predecessor, the former bearer of the Burning Quill, who entrusted them in turn to me. The complete emancipation of bearers is their stated aim.
Wow.
But your father's dream did not end there. His Grace also spoke of building hospices to care for those stricken by the curse, and the founding of a new university to further the development of non-magical technologies. With the Blight spreading ever more widely across the Twins, Archduke Elwin saw this as the only means of securing Rosaria's survival.
He wished to see men and bearers treated as equals. To see centuries of common wisdom overturned. Small wonder he did not think it achievable within his lifetime.
But he thought it achievable nonetheless. Had he not, he would never have written this message. Nor would he have entrusted his vision to his most faithful aides, those who would have stood with you, shielded you from the machinations of the less benevolent personages at court.
It's a pity only they are still with us.
'Tis true that those most loyal to your father were the first to suffer the Duchess's wrath. But one at least remains, and she has come bearing gifts.
What do you mean?
Mayhap it is better that she explain, my lord. After all, the duties entrusted to me by my predecessor extended only to recovering His Grace's will and arranging a meeting with the one who might execute it, or a part of it at least.
And where is this woman?
She awaits you in the archive, Your Grace.
Thank you, Cyril. Shall we then?
Well then. Archduke Elwin's aid.
My lord, Your Grace. I hardly recognize you. I am Goditha, retainer of House Rosfield, loyal servant to the Phoenix and his shields. Your father, the Archduke Elwin, entrusted me with the delivery of a gift. I only hope you can forgive my tardiness in bringing it to you.
Lift up your head, Lady Goditha. You have our gratitude for your service to our house and to our father.
I merely did my duty, as any proud Rosarian would.
My lady, perhaps you could explain a little more? What exactly is the gift you bring?
As I'm sure you know, it has long been the custom for the children of House Rosfield to be presented with certain keepsakes upon their coming of age.
Indeed it has. Our father often spoke of the day when our turn would come.
And had he lived to see it, he would have presented you with the treasures I bear. Matching armbands for you both. Alas, he did not live. Indeed, he was taken from us even before they could be completed. He had intended to claim the Hearthstone with which each armband was to be finished himself, but it was not to be. And his gifts remain incomplete.
I see.
It saddens me to bring them before you, as they are. It was your father's wish that you be presented with the finished articles, not these works in progress. But with his grace long since gone, and the stone left unclaimed, I had little choice. You are grown men now, and his house is yours. And while I would not presume to insist upon your claiming the Hearthstone in his stead, I know that nothing would have pleased him more than for you to do so.
Thank you, Lady Goditha.
What say you, Clive?
What else? Of course, my lady. May our father's will be done.
Oh, I am much obliged.
Do you know where we might find this Hearthstone, my lady?
I do. Though it may be a matter of a good deal more than simply happening upon it. It is found in the bellies of elder griffins, you see. We do at least know where to find one. A certain specimen has made its nest in Titan's Wake, not far from here.
A certain specimen?
You are most perceptive, Your Grace. In answer to your unspoken question, yes. In fact, this is the very same beast your father meant to slay. I have been tracking its movements since you were but a boy. Were you to slay it in his stead, as men of House Rosfield, it would surely make your father proud.
What say you, Joshua?
What else?
Yeah, okay. The Rosfield boys.
Titan's Wake is to the south of here. But we must not be hasty. The good lady has been disappointed once already.
Not a stone's throw away.
It's all good. The Rosfield boys are going to go kick some ass one last time for their father. Well, not one last time, but the penultimate time, I guess. Let's get it done.
Eyes peeled, Joshua.
This is more the kind of thing I hoped we did with Byron, like one last kind of uncle-son, like uncle-nephew trip together somewhere and stuff, since that's how we kind of got to know him. They didn't even really share any more stories of like the past, which I was also looking forward to as well. So I think that one they dropped the ball a bit. Right, here we go. Start with a nice simmer. Okay.
There it is. The House Rossfield.
Yeah, a lot of moves there. I mean, it just did 20 things back to back. Right, there we go. See what we can do here. Yeah, it's got a lot of HP. Straight in with those to get the stagger working again. Right, there we go. Did its job. That time it didn't do its job. Yeah, okay, that one doesn't work. I was kind of testing it to see what it could do. I guess some attacks are kind of too strong for it. I don't know how it works. But let's go back on the attack now. There it is.
Get him. This one.
Yeah, we're only at 1.3, so it's not quite going to do great damage, but... Just quickly fire this off as well, get as much damage as we can. It might finish it off. Might finish it off. Wow, it survived that. Come on. Son of a bitch. We have no health left at all. It had like 119 left at most. That's always the worst, when they've got like no health left and they have to get off those final few big moves. Griffins suffer something akin to the crystal's curse. Their flesh slowly turns to stone over a lifetime of channeling ether. Unlike bearers, however, the effect is far more gradual and limited to a sac around their hearts, the slower progress of petrification resulting in the formation of a gemstone of rare beauty. That's a pretty cool item explanation there.
Is this the Hearthstone?
I expect Lady Goditha will know.
Let's head straight back.
Thank the Founder you were safe. The Griffin is slain then?
And the Hearthstone claimed.
Yes. This radiant luster, like frozen flame. It is just as your father described it. Thank you, my lord. Your grace. Your father would be so proud.
Lady Goditha, the lapidary is ready.
Thank you, Cyril. I will be with him shortly. If you would excuse me, I shall have the stone cut and set forthwith.
Forthwith indeed.
The armbands are complete. Pray, take them. They are yours, after all. Hearthstone is harder and more enduring than garnet, or even ruby. It symbolizes unwavering will and devotion. and the graven vines encircling the stone represent the unbreakable bonds between you.
It's a message. Father knew we had enemies both inside and outside the duchy. Enemies who would thwart his vision. Only with unwavering devotion would it ever be realized.
And only if we stood together, as Phoenix and Shield, as brothers in arms, only then might those enemies be overcome.
Indeed. His Grace knew the enormity of the task he would entrust to you, his heirs. But this was more than just a message. It was a promise. That he would always be with you.
Thank you, Lady Goditha, for remaining the steadfast custodian of our father's will.
Forgive me, my lady, but there is something I don't quite understand. The Undying told me that after Father died, Mother claimed all of the ducal treasures for her own. Even if the armbands were incomplete, she would surely not have overlooked them. So, how were you able to keep them from her?
Because I was the keeper of the vault. Though I was but a lowly servant, your father spoke to me of his intentions for the bands, of the deep love he had for both of you, and his hopes for your future. In the days before the disaster at Phoenix Gate, I discovered that the Duchess had ordered her jewelry be sent away from the castle. It was then that I knew she meant to betray us. I tried to warn your father, but it was too late. When word of the fire reached Rosalith, I knew my time was short. So I took up the armbands and I fled into the night.
And thank the Founder you did.
Yet my duty to your father was incomplete. Not knowing what else to do, I followed the Griffin, thinking I might claim the Hearthstone on its passing. And so my pursuit continued, until Lord Cyril appeared before me. He informed me that His Grace's will had been recovered, and that his sons were alive and well.
Lady Goditha, on behalf of my father and all the people of Rosaria, I thank you for your loyal service.
As do I.
Thank you, my lord. Your Grace, for coming back to us, for giving my service meaning.
Thank you indeed. That was a pretty cool story, I have to say.
The bands suit you well.
Let me see them.
It must be gratifying to finally receive the inheritance that was denied you for so long.
It is. And we thank you for the part you played, Cyril.
If you would permit me to play my part a little longer, might I suggest that you make your way to your father's memorial atop Hawk's Cry Cliff? Let him see that you have received his blessing, and that his vision lives on in you.
I suppose it would be churlish not to. What do you say, Clive? Shall we pay Father a visit?
I think we should. I was hoping to be able to offer him my thanks before we left for Origin.
Your father's helm is enshrined there. It has been since the day we recovered it from Phoenix Gate. I prithee claim it, for it too is a part of your inheritance, and I do not doubt that your father would prefer it in your hands than perched upon some lonely rock.
Thank you, Cyril. Come on, Clive. He's waiting.
Yeah, it really is a game of will and legacies. And obviously you can see how much crossover there is between what Elwin wanted for the world and what Sid wanted for the world. One in which bearers would be free, treated as equals, able to live on their own terms, all that kind of stuff. So it's interesting, there's so much crossover. And well, one's literally their father, and Sid was obviously a fatherly figure as well. So I think that was really cool. And yeah, it's a nice thing for Clive and Joshua to be able to share after all these years. I'm sure we'll get a nice piece of dialogue here to round things off.
Unwavering will and an unbreakable bond. Do you really think we're strong enough?
To save the world? Of course. To to have overcome Father's political enemies. That I'm less certain. Especially knowing what we know now. What Mother was truly capable of. But perhaps these bands would have helped. Knowing he was with us would have made all the difference.
Now, interestingly, it's finally that place that I went to like 40 hours ago by accident. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, it's this bit. That's so funny. I wondered for so long what the hell this was.
It's just back there.
And it had to be for the absolute final side quest of the game. That's insane. Wow. I was literally here. And I was like, what does this even say? Wow. It's very kind of unceremonious compared to how much of an important figure he was. Which is also nice.
Father always fought for what he believed was right. It wasn't until that night at Phoenix Gate that I realized I had never fought for anything. I always had someone else to do the fighting for me.
No matter how fate conspired against him, he never lost heart, never looked back, never stopped fighting. To me, he was the greatest of men. And I've been trying to live up to his ideals ever since.
We all have, Clive. We all have. And we'll keep trying. Because that's what he would have wanted.
What he would have done himself. Even if it meant standing against the very gods in the heavens.
I shall be borrowing this, Father, if I may. That you might watch over us as we follow in your footsteps.
We won't lay you down.
Onward then.
Onward. To the end.
And to a new beginning.
Yeah, good stuff. Where there's a will, there's a way. Rusted battle helm. War is coming, my boys. We must make ready. Yeah, he was taken too soon. But that's why, again, Sid was an even better character in that sense. Hold on. Oh. Okay, at least that means that we can do the hunts together, right? Nice. Every little helps. But yeah, again, that's why I think having Sid in the story was even better, especially early on, because he filled a lot of the gap that was lost so early with Elwin's passing. So I think that was definitely a smart thing to do. There's another side quest? Is this a Jill side quest now? Did it pop after we've done all of these? It's probably a missive one. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look. I feel like in general that the game is too good to not let us have a Jill quest. Like it feels like they kind of especially left her out. So I am hoping that maybe this is the Jill quest. And then I can shut up about that. Yes. There it is. Okay. Hey. I always say it. There's nothing I like more Then when something annoys me or frustrates me or upsets me and I rant about it and I talk about it, and then the game delivers. And so, fair play. Let's have a look at these again. I won't read them all from start to finish, it's a lot. But I'll leave it up here for a little bit. That's a nice line. I regret that I can only fill in the gaps in your knowledge and not the holes in your soul, for which reason I shall ever be in your debt. Like I say, they've got some good one-liners that have stuck with me. My man Dion. Hippocrates. Thank you, Clive, for ever indulging the whims of this doddering old soul. I am ashamed that for far too many years I allowed stubbornness and fear to keep me from something so simple as letting a friend know how proud I was of him. Your intervention has lifted a heavy pall from my heart. Perhaps upon your triumphant return from the skies, you might be inclined to set to page that quill I gifted you. There are many of us who would hear a first-hand account of your time with the Holy Prince, myself included. Yeah, he's going to become Master Chronicler, I'm telling you. It's going to be his pen name. I will read Mitt's one too. What? You didn't think I was just saying that stuff about hiding my engine, did you? Wouldn't you know, I've already a fine spot picked out and everything. But if you're going to go on this grand adventure, you'll need to be quick about your business with that ruddy god of yours. Take too long and somebody more clever might beat you to the prize. I suppose in that case I could bury you one of my lesser inventions. Goddess knows, I've countless. That's DLC finding a Mithril engine. Yeah, Gav's already ready to play like the kind of more fatherly role for this new kid in the hideout. Try Unity, your loving uncle. I love how he signs it like that. Yet what matters most is not the destination, but what we can learn from one another while on the road there. You have paved that road for us with your courage, Clive. Now we must have the courage to walk it. Yeah, they really, I think they got this guy balanced pretty well between, like, he does drop some nice lines and nuggets of wisdom and says some cool things, and then he is just a bit cringe and a bit cheesy and funny sometimes as well. So I have liked Byron. He's a nice contrast to, like, the generally much more serious tones of Clive and co. And yes, we have Elwin, and now concern for Jill. Let's see. Though her Eikon brought her much suffering, the loss of Shiva weighs heavy on her heart, and we would be poor friends indeed if we not seek to lighten that burden, even but only a fraction before we depart for the skies. I would speak on this more in private. Thank you, Joshua, for bringing it to our attention that Jill needs a flipping quest.
If Joshua's worried about Jill, I should go and speak with him.
Mother F is acting like they forgot about Jill. Seriously. Character-wise, like relative to the others, like I say, she's been, for me, one of the weak links of the story. One of the few weak links. And so you've got to give her a good send-off here, side quest-wise. She really deserves that. She's too important.
Joshua, I read your message. You're right. Jill is different. I don't think I'd realized how different, but since we returned from Drake's spine, I've felt it more and more.
I suppose it's not hard to imagine why.
She doesn't think she belongs anymore.
And that's why we need to remind her she is still one of us.
Yes.
To let her know that we still need her. Now
Yes.
more than ever.
Yes.
That you still need her. But how to do that? When last we were truly close, we were but children.
Of course. Do you remember the time we accompanied Father on his annual tour of the Duchy? And Jill and I broke from the procession to ride up Man's Hill.
To see the snow daisies, I remember. It was the first time Father had allowed us to join him. And when he realized you were missing, he had the entire retinue down to the pot boys combing the countryside.
In the rain. A thunderstorm forced us to take refuge in a grove of oaks before we'd even made it halfway there. It was the Lord Commander who finally found us, and needless to say, he was none too pleased.
Then it seems you and Jill have unfinished business. What do you say?
Man's Hill. It's not that far.
Oh, true. Though I suspect it is also much changed. Little in southern Rosaria remains as it was when we were children.
You're saying I should go and scout the area for bandits?
I'm saying we should first go and see if there are actually still any snow daisies left. What would you do without me, Clive?
Yeah, this is the kind of quest I needed. Whew, thank God for that. So back here once again. And I'm definitely glad I left it till last. I think it was better that way. This was the most necessary, well, one of the most necessary quests for sure, like top 3 most necessary. So rip.
This is the place, but
I'm sorry, Clive.
there's nowhere been spared. What do we do now?
We keep looking. Man's Hill cannot be the only place where snow daisies grow.
Perhaps, but it's the only place I know of. Knew of.
Then why not ask someone who might know of another?
Someone in the backyard. To the hideaway, then.
Okay, let's zip back.